It's definitely fair to say that Netflix is one of the most influential companies of the past decade. The platform has been with us through thick and thin for cozy days, rainy days, date nights, lockdown, you name it. One thing the internet has shown us over the past decade is that the days of Netflix and chill are forever golden. Whether you love getting lost in your favorite series, binging true crime documentaries, or just catching up with some good old mindless reality shows, Netflix is truly the king of TV streaming. However, much of Netflix's story remains pretty untapped. Many people don't even know the company's original name or their true origin story. Did Netflix really kill Blockbuster? Wait till you hear about their brutal methods of measuring employee performance. In this video, we're going to show you 10 crazy things you need to know about Netflix. We're OnlyBrands, the channel dedicated to bringing you awesome, regular content on the world's hottest brands. Let's do this. Number 1. Netflix turned down an offer from Jeff Bezos to buy the company. By 2003, Netflix had already gone through the rhythm. Multiple highs and lows of the treacherous corporate waters had wounded the company, but that was all now behind them. Before then, co-founders Reed Hastings and Mark Rudolph had early success to a certain measure and, quite naturally, had caught the attention of Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos just a year after their establishment. Bezos offered about $16 million to acquire their young company. However, the founders refused Jeff's fair offer and chose to instead ride it out until the end. A few years later, Netflix was unfortunately operating at a loss due to the dot-com bubble crisis of 2000. The founders admitted they regretted turning down the Amazon offer and tried to instead hammer out another sale by offering the company to the then video giant Blockbuster for $50 million. Amusingly, the Blockbuster CEO, John Antioco, laughed them out of his office and labeled the dot-com crisis as overblown. So the founders were forced back into grappling with the business and shifted their focus towards instead gearing towards an IPO. The IPO was originally planned for 2001, but the process was understandably delayed due to the 9/11 tragedy, so it was pushed back to May 29, 2002, where the company's shares were sold for $15 each. By 2003, the company received its rental patent and posted its first profit of $6.5 million on a $272 million revenue. And the subsequent year, Netflix's profit had exploded to $49 million from $500 million revenue. As of today, Netflix employs 12,000 people and has posted an extremely impressive profit of $5.11 billion from $29.67 billion worth of revenue. This just goes to show that patience is crucial in business, and perseverance always pays off. Number 2. Netflix and Chinese porn. Far from the days of the dot-com bubble, Netflix has become one of the largest companies in the world, but a tremendous amount of work and evolution has been required every step of the way. Netflix originally started out as a DVD rental service way back in 1997, and then later expanded to become a subscription-based mail service in 2000. However, this journey wasn't straightforward, and there were definitely several growing pains along the way. In its early days, the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal was one of America's hottest topics, and its DVD became requested by thousands of Netflix subscribers. However, the excited subscribers were extremely shocked and horrified to find that the DVDs instead played Chinese porn, not the juicy scandal they were promised. That was definitely super awkward. Number 3. The Netflix box. By February of 2007, the company had delivered its billionth DVD, and the following year, in January of 2008, Netflix streaming services was officially launched. However, Netflix's streaming service spent years in the pipeline, as this sort of technology was a relatively new concept at the time and was held off by lack of high-definition internet videos. But the recent explosion of YouTube reassured the company that this was the right move. The precursor to the streaming service we know and love today was a physical hardware device called the Netflix box, which allowed users to download movies overnight, ready to be watched the next day. Scrapping this hardware-oriented approach in favor of a software approach was evidently the correct play, given how quickly Netflix rose to prominence afterwards. Due to this choice, users can now stream Netflix on their phones, laptops, and TVs wherever they are in the world. In fact, you can now even stream Netflix inside your Tesla. And by the way, a lot of hard work and care goes into these videos, so if you could help us out by clicking the subscribe button, we would greatly appreciate it. Number 4. More internet traffic than Google. With the number of junkies eager for their Netflix fix, it's not surprising that Netflix gets astounding levels of traffic. Even with that considered, it remains unlikely for any website to outrank internet traffic giant Google. But That was not the case in 2019, when 12.9% of the world's internet traffic led to Netflix, just edging out Google by 0.6%. Shows like The Crown, Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy, and Big Mouth certainly did a number on the internet that year. Furthermore, Netflix has not taken its foot off the gas, and neither have the junkies. The platform receives 26% of all global streaming traffic, which is the largest among its peers. Moreover, Netflix also consumes 26% of the entire world's internet bandwidth. However, Netflix's crown was recently claimed by another service after the company's subscriber count of 220.7 million fell behind Disney's triple threat of Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+. For the first time ever, Netflix has become the company with the second largest subscriber count. Oh, and if you're ever feeling depressed about the amount of time you spend on Netflix, remember that in 2017, an unknown Australian viewer binge-watched Madagascar a whopping 352 times. So unless that person was you, don't sweat it. Number 5, Netflix have been expanding to other markets. Although Netflix remains the big shark of the streaming waters, the company continues putting its nose to the floor with the next big opportunity. Fairly recently, the company has crossed into foreign waters of games and books. With the acquisition of Night School Studio, Netflix has launched its own games, which include 2 Stranger Things titles, alongside a couple other titles for both Android and iOS platforms. Furthermore, Netflix has introduced the Book Club, which revolves around various books and how they were worked into a movie or TV adaptation. This new feature provides exclusive insight into the monthly book adaptation process by way of interviews with the authors, cast, and producers. Netflix has never been one to stagnate and makes consistent efforts to keep evolving and expanding. One can only guess what other ventures the company will go for next. Number 6, the Keeper Test. Netflix maintains a very interesting work culture where employees are granted broad discretion to all decisions, unlimited vacation time, and even allowed to convert any amount of their paychecks into stock options. However, the company also boasts a highly competitive white-knuckle work environment where supervisors routinely conduct a so-called Keeper Test. This test assesses the performance of employees by essentially asking them one simple question: would you fight to keep this person? Any employee who doesn't pass the Keeper Test gets let go, along with a severance package worth 4 months' salary. Number 7, the Netflix carpool. Now, discard whatever cool Netflix origin story you think is true. Reed Hastings was not inspired by Blockbuster's late fees. That late tale has been repeatedly discredited by other Netflix co-founder Mark Rudolph. In the summer of 1997, Reed Hastings had just gotten way richer from the $750 million acquisition of software company Pure, which Mark Rudolph also worked at as a marketing director. The two men conceived the idea of Netflix in a fateful carpool to Pure's headquarters from the homes in Santa Cruz. During the carpool, Randolph expressed his admiration for the Amazon business model and shared that he's also had a desire to sell portable items over the internet. This idea took root, leading to the pair considering selling VHS tapes, but soon ruled it out due to its fragility. After the introduction of DVDs that very same year, they decided to conduct shipment tests of a compact disc to Hastings' house. Upon seeing the disc arriving safely, it was obvious to the pair what needed to be done. Reed Hastings subsequently proceeded to invest $2.5 million of his cash from the aforementioned sale, and the business began. That was an especially juicy fact, right? I think that one definitely deserves a thumbs up. Number 8, groundbreaking original content. As we've already discussed, evolution has been the key ingredient to Netflix's success. The streaming giant added another spice to its recipe by becoming not just a streaming service, but also a TV and movie production company. In 2013, House of Cards debuted as the first original Netflix content and the service's most watched show. Orange is the New Black debuted later that year. Today, there are over 2,400 original titles on Netflix, accounting for roughly 50% of its total library. Netflix has continuously invested in its own original content over the years, totaling up to $13.6 billion, which is way more than any other streaming service. And the reward for this keen move has been notable, with House of Cards winning the platform's first award at the 2013 Emmys. Since then, Netflix original titles have garnered over 250 awards from 800 nominations, with The Crown being responsible for 129 of these. Number 9, the war with Blockbuster. Did Netflix Netflix really kill Blockbuster? After the CEO of Blockbuster declined to buy Netflix in 2002, it proved to be a fantastic decision for the future of Netflix. Once the storm of the dot-com bubble passed and Netflix's IPO launched, the company began soaring. Consequently, they became serious competition for Blockbuster, and once Netflix got into gear, the race was really on. Blockbuster used a brick-and-mortar model to provide their DVD rental services, as opposed to Netflix's more forward-thinking online approach. The one edge Netflix had over Blockbuster was that everybody despised Blockbuster's late fee charges, and in the year 2000 alone, Blockbuster charged a staggering $800 million for late returns. Netflix instead opted to charge a flat fee without any late returns. Consequently, many customers ditched Blockbuster for Netflix, who had already gained 1 million subscribers by 2003. The competition got increasingly tense, and Netflix's Hastings was quoted as saying, "Blockbuster had thrown everything but the kitchen sink at us." In fact, Blockbuster CEO Antioco, with his wicked sense of humor, sent Netflix a gift package containing a literal kitchen sink. Blockbuster soon introduced a feature that allowed customers to check out titles on online sites and then return them to physical stores. This put Netflix on the back foot for a short while, as customers were loving the new Blockbuster service. However, Blockbuster became saddled with a $1 billion debt by its parent company, Viacom, and the online platform was running at a loss. The company also had internal struggles, which saw Antioco's exit from the company and a U-turn from its online platform as the company desperately tried to pay off its debt. With a final whimper, the ex-Blockbuster CEO sold his shares in Blockbuster and invested into Netflix. In 2010, Netflix reached a whopping 20 million subscribers and began expanding overseas. That same year, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. Number 10. Kibble. The first wobbly steps that the newborn business took was its naming. Mark Randolph chose the name Kibble, which reminded him of an advertising adage about dogs. However, the name was so unpalatable that the pair shuffled through alternatives like Webflix, Take One, and Netpix before settling on Netflix prior to launch. Kibble.com still remains a personal property of Mark Randolph to this day, which redirects visitors to his personal site. We appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed, but why stop now? Click these videos for more awesome content.